corner. 200. Good stand and turn. 200.
Sometimes it tells you it's really squeeze it.
The Lord is good. Two times through on number 200.
All right, Obadiah. Are you playing the piano today or no? Can you? Think you know? No. Just a question. Just a question. Are you giving me an answer or no? Tell me later, and no's okay. Obadiah is in the back and needs to be passed out. So, Hosea, Amos, Obadiah. Let's try to maybe get through this today. The grandfather clock is broke down. Yeah. It is, I don't know if it needs a grease job or what. I don't know if it's out of level, but it broke down last week. I wound it, stopped 10 to 10. It worked off. I started it up just before prayer, so it was 10 to 7 running, and it was 10 to 7 this morning. It's probably stopped running right now. Needs a loop job. The way they build them now is it doesn't last forever. No, every 3 or 4 years. But they wear out and then they replace the guts. 100 years ago, they go through that. None of my clocks are. The only one that needs replacing is the 1980s. If it's 1880s, we have to replace that in 100. You guys told me why. But what they do is they just pull the guts out and replace it. He was telling me about somebody had bought a rare clock. We were looking at a rare clock, and they said you could rebuild it for a couple of $1,000. Rebuild the clock. Well, it needed work. They took it out and put in a new work. Why would you take a clock that's worth anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000, put it out and put a $400 movement, $300 movement? They're not a brainer. But people do that. Anyway, Obadiah. All right. We'll see how much are my notes that are in here in my Bible that are in the notes here. Obadiah means servant of the Lord. This is what I'm just reading out of my notes in my Bible that I write in here for the last 35, 40 years. Servant of the Lord. Basically, we do not know anything about him. Father, bless the lesson that we would be strengthened by it now. In Christ's name, amen. Basically, we don't know anything about him. So, which means the message is more important than the messenger. Give me a good New Testament verse about that. You know why that just blows out of the water all of this stuff going on. That the message is more important than the messenger. And you know what chapter it is? It's in the Gospels. Jesus said it. It's where Arthur Pink goes to prove. I didn't say it, he said it in his commentary. That all this stuff that's going on, and he was around 100 years ago, all this stuff is just right out of the pit of hell. Anybody know? It's in the Gospels. Which Gospel? If you were to guess. John. What chapter? You know, where is Jesus? He doesn't go. He doesn't go. And then he does go. He doesn't tell anybody, but his disciples want him to go.
To save the person who died.
No, it was to go to the temple. He said, if you go and announce yourself, you're going to be number one on the hit parade. What chapter is that? In fact, let's go there. I think it's John chapter 7. Keep your place in Obadiah. Basically, Arthur Pink, he goes through these verses here, and he said all of that stuff going on is, he didn't say out of the pit of hell, but he said none of it's of God. Verse 8, go ye up unto this feast. I go not up yet unto this feast, for my time is not yet full. Let's see. His brethren, verse 3, there said, depart hence and go into Judea, that thy disciples may also see the works that thou doest. For there's no man that doeth anything in secret. On it goes. And he goes right for it. And he said, all that stuff that's going on is right out of the pit now. So back to Obadiah. The message is more important than the messenger. So always remember that. The messenger is we are to preach, Paul says we are to preach who? Finish the Christ and him crucified. I think that's how it reads. We are to preach Christ and him crucified. All right, now I'm just, it describes the fate of Edom. It's a type of the second birth in the Old Testament. Esau is the flesh, it represents the first man, Adam, and Jacob is the spirit representing the second man, Jesus Christ. Edom, what does the word mean? That's not recorded in my Bible. Edom. Red. So Esau was red. And then I think when Jesus comes back, and it may be it could be Revelation 18, he comes back, his garments are stained what color? Red. I think it does describe somewhere as in Edom, because it's red. He treadeth out what?
The wine press.
The winepress.
With bread.
And how does he tread it? With us or without us?
Was that a priest?
Pardon?
Was our priest?
Not with our feet, no. He treads it out alone. He treads it out alone, and he is stained with the blood of men. Jesus doesn't need our help to do anything. All right. It contains one chapter, 21 verses. It is the shortest book in the Old Testament. There's the shortest book. What is the shortest? What is the longest chapter in the Bible?
Psalm 119.
You know, what is the shortest chapter in the Bible? 100, Psalms 117. Making the middle of the Bible between the longest and the shortest, 118. And the middle two words in Psalm 118 is
The Lord.
the Lord. All right. It means servant of the Lord, servant of Jehovah. It was written about 845 BC. I have a question mark for 857. Depends on which battle we're talking about. It's neither here nor there. It's not going to change your life either way. Obadiah is one of the earliest of prophets. He was directed towards the south, which is Edom. And I have it marked down map 5. We used to go back and look at these maps. Map 5. We didn't pass out maps. We don't have to go there. How do people get around today?
Trains, automobiles.
How do they get around today? Yeah, they get around that dumb thing. They can't read a map today. How did they find the treasure in Treasure Island? Yeah, who had it?
Jim Hawkins.
No, he did not have it. Jim Hawkins did not have it, man.
Long John Silver.
Yeah, and how did he get it?
I thought he took it from the Captain Sparrow's.
He traded for it, I think. He trades it. Somehow he trades the kid. The deal is this. You lay off, I'll give you the map. But he already knew he had the treasure. Who had the treasure?
Oh, Ben Gunn or Ben.
Ben Gunn. So what does he do with the map? What does Long John do with the map? Anybody remember? He takes the map and he throws it on the ground. Says, "You want the treasure? There it is." Well, today's people, would they find the gold? Would you find the gold? Would your average American find the gold? They can't read a map. It's so sick. They can't read a map, so they would never find the gold. Again, Ben Gunn had the gold. Obadiah, he's directed towards the south, and the map is given you. I'm sure if your Bible has maps, it's shown there. Obadiah, common Old Testament name is 20 times. It represents 13 different people. Anybody know anybody named Obadiah? I don't either, other than Obadiah in the Bible. The message of the book of Obadiah: pride deceives a person or a nation. Let's go to Ezekiel 16. This may be the Sodom, the sins of Sodom. I'm not quite sure. We've been here a few times. 16, verse 49. I don't know if this is it or not. And it is. we've read this a few times here, and that is, behold, this was the iniquity of thy sister Sodom. The very first one is pride. This is the one that brings Satan down, pride. And that's the number one that brings a man down, pride. Fullness of bread, abundance of idleness was in her and in her daughters. Neither did she strengthen the hand of the poor and needy. They were haughty and committed abomination before me. Therefore I took them away because they saw good. So pride is number one. Being bisexual is the last one. What is that? Oh, transgender. That's the new deal. And in America has made that which sin? Number one or last? America has made that sin, transgender.
Not a sin.
Pardon?
Not a sin.
Oh, well, not a sin. Well, let's make it a sin. You're a conservative. Let's make it a sin. It is conservative. Which one does that rank? Where does it rank today? Number one or last? It's number one. They go right. It's the number one thing in the news. It's the number one thing. The number one sin. We got to pull all the kids out of the school. I'm all for that. Pull them out of the schools and all. But the number one sin is pride, folks. That's the number one sin. They have it all out of order. The so-called Christians, conservatives, yes.
I have a scripture reference for my answer that I gave you before. Romans 16:20, and the God of peace shall bruise Satan under your feet. Shortly, the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with you. Amen.
Okay, I can't connect it right now. My mind's somewhere else.
The wine press was
Oh, the wine press.
I could be wrong, but.
Well, read it again. Now that I know your topic.
And the God of peace shall bruise Satan under your feet shortly. The grace of the Lord Jesus Christ be with you.
Oh, I wouldn't go there. No, there's too many verses other places. We're going to rule with him. And, oh, by the way, the millennial is not going to be some big lovey-dovey fest. You know, are you going to, where are they going in the 60s? Anybody going to San Francisco? Yeah, they think it's just going to be a San Francisco party. It's going to be anything but that. There's going to be drought. It's not all peaches and cream.
Poop in the streets.
It's going to be a mess. And the only way it's straightened out is with the rod of iron. All right. Pride deceives a person or a nation. Verses 1 through 16 is the destruction of Edom. And verses 17 through 21, this is the topic, restoration of Israel. And I believe we're really going to finish this really early today. Edom is Esau, Genesis 36, verse 1. In fact, let's go there, Genesis 36, verse 1. A lot of this stuff, we should already know this kind of stuff in general. Now, these are the generations of Esau. Who is Edom? I mean, there it is. It gives you the definition right there. Right? Who is Edom? All right? So the definition is good. Edom means red. Esau dwelt in Mount Seir. Seir means hairy or rugged. All right, Esau was a, finish the verse, I think, a hairy man. And his brother was, one hand was hairy, and the other hands were what? How are they described? No, smooth. I think smooth. How will he know? I have smooth hands. All right. Both represent. The other day, The other day I was told, I said, well, that's a type of Christ. Those preachers aren't looking for types of Christ. Well, I'd like to know, what then are they doing? Then what are they doing? God only knows what they're doing. Both Esau and Jacob then would represent Jesus Christ. Give me a good verse it's a verse or two verses. They're back to back, which would represent Jacob and Esau in salvation. On some, have compassion. What hands are those? The hairy ones or the smooth? The smooth hands. Others save with, and that would represent then the hairy hands. So both of them represent Jesus Christ, one person. Now, you learned that here. Is it taught elsewhere? It could be. I didn't get that on my own. I read that someplace. But if that kind of stuff isn't presented, then what are these people looking for in the Bible? What are they looking for? This is what I'm looking for in the Bible. We're looking for Christ in the Bible because He is the Bible. And it increases your faith. It increases your faith.
Another type would be Esau's the natural man, Jacob's spiritual.
And that's where it comes, where I had already read back here, and it should be, and it is not in your notes.
Second's always better.
The second's always better, right. And that, let me get to it. I read it off here in my notes, that it's a type of second birth in the Old Testament, where Esau, I already read this off, didn't I? Esau is the flesh, the first man Adam, and Jacob is the second man, the Spirit, second man, Jesus Christ. It always teaches ye must be born again. All the way through the Bible, ye must be born again. All right, the blessing always goes to the second one down. It has to go to somebody else. You say, well, David was the seventh one now. Was the seventh one. Well, it didn't go to the first one. It was down the road. And by the way, was David the seventh one? Was David son number 7?
I thought it was 8.
He was 8. What happened to number 7?
They call it died.
The assumption is that he died. And then when you're describing the 8 sons, you don't describe one of the sons because he's dead. You don't bring it up. When we talk about the kids, we say, well, we had 7 children. Well, we didn't have 7. We had 9 or so. We don't know. We know that one died. We know that. We know there was something else happened and all. But those that are dead, you don't bring them up. You generally don't do that. And so then who is critical of that in the Bible? There are people that are very critical of that. Maybe you just aren't dealing with a lot of it. I haven't personally dealt with people like this, but they're out there. They hate God. They hate the Bible. They'll look and point and say, see, boo-boo, boo-boo, there's a boo-boo here. But they don't take a minute to figure it out and explain it, of what it means. So Edom means red. He dwells in Mount Seir. It means hairy and rugged. He was red and a hairy man. And he sells his birthright for the red pottage. And I don't feel led to look that up. He sells it. And so then the blessing that, what's the father? Isaac? The blessing that Isaac, he gives his eyes are dim. There is something about that too, spiritually speaking, when his eyes are dim. But he gives it to number 2 son. Number verse 2, something gets a blessing. Number one, he finally gives them a blessing that you will be out from underneath your brother's rule. You'll be out from underneath your brother's rule. The sins of Edom, pride, verse 3, and violence. Verse 10 of Obadiah, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Forever.
Esau didn't go to heaven.
I would say he was damned.
Same Canaan.
Dan. What about Saul?
So,
There's those that preach that Saul went to hell.
did he kill himself?
Well, yeah, if you go there, but you got people that go there. What's the sin of going to hell?
Not accepting Jesus.
Yeah, falling on your sword. Fall on your sword. And by the way, did he kill himself when he fell on his sword?
No.
Saul didn't do it. He did a bad job. It was a botched job. What nationality killed him? Where was it? I think he was from Egypt. I think he was Egyptian. Killed him. And then what did David do to him? He did him in. And who did he send over? A mighty man of war?
The young one.
A young one. Did the young one do it? Did the young one do it? I don't know if he did. I think he was afraid to do it. And then finally, another guy goes over there, doesn't it? I'm pretty sure. Or he sells it for a red. He sells his salvation for a pot of beans. They sell out cheap. In the end, they'll sell out eternity. They'll trade it in for, just a pot of beans. Because it's of no value. Numbers 20, I think this is worth going to. The Edomites would not let Israel pass through. So go to Numbers. To go around, what is the word used to go around in the Bible?
Compass.
To compass. You take a compass, you put it where you're at, you go around, as in a compass. Numbers 20, 14 through 21. No, I'm in the wrong chapter. I'm in chapter 21. 14 through 20. The Moses sent messengers from Kadesh unto the king of Edom. Thou knowest. Kadesh. Verse 18. Edom said unto him, Thou shalt not pass by me, lest I come out against thee with a sword. Children of Israel said unto him, We will go by the highway. That's the king's highway. And if I and my cattle drink of thy water, then I will pay for it. We say if you venture off the king's highway, you pay for it. In the Pilgrim's Progress, on the way, he ventures into what city?
Vanity Fair.
Vanity Fair. And he's deterred there. And finally, I don't know how he gets out of that, but he gets out of Vanity Fair. The moment you partake in this life, you are now, you have just short-circuited your life. The king's highway will not turn to the right hand or the left until we have passed thy borders. And if we drink of anything, they will pay for it. I will only, without doing anything else, go through on my feet. And he says, Thou shalt not go through. And God punished them for that, making them go around. Making them go around. He went after them, the Edomites. And what are they supposed to do with them, by the way, when God goes after them? Kill every last one of them. Oh, and such as Saul, what was he to kill?
Animals and everything.
Anything that what? Anything that breathed, you smash it. Anything that breathed. All right. Back, if you would. When he says, "Thus saith thy brother Israel," it's his brother. The sins of Edom, pride and violence, we saw that. He's a blood relative. Back to Obadiah. And thou shalt be, thy brother Jacob. So it is, he is the blood relative. The Edomites hated Israel. Of the two words, the Edomites hated Israel. Of the two words, which one is in existence today? Obviously, Israel. The Edomites are gone. Toast. All right. Psalm 137, verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation. Yeah, they're the ones that are chanting it. Raise it. What does raise mean? Burn it?
Down, tear it down.
Tear it down, get the wrecking ball out, knock it down in a row. Raise it. All right, judgment comes on Edom. Verse 15. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thy own head. So that's the judgment that's coming upon Edom. Genesis 12, 1, 3. In fact, let's turn there quickly. We got a couple of minutes here. Genesis 12. And the Lord had said unto him, get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, into a land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation. I will bless thee and make the name great, and thou shalt be blessed. I will bless them that bless thee and curse them. We just used this in another book before this one. I bless them that bless thee, curse them that curse thee. What goes around comes around. Galatians, what chapter? What goes around comes around. Galatians what? 6. What's the verse? I'm asking it because it escapes my mind too. Yeah, whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Right? You sow good, you'll reap good. If you want to be a dumb brick, well, then just remember, you'll be a dumb brick. You'll reap the same. Great tribulation, verses 15 and 16. I have it marked down here in my side column, Jesus is coming. For as ye have, we have already read verse 15, drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. They shall drink and they shall swallow down. And they shall be as though they had not been. All right, what goes around comes around, the great tribulation. And then verse 17, but upon Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. And so we go from the Great Tribulation, verses 15 and 16, to verse 17, to the millennium. Sometimes these dispensations move real fast. Within one or two verses, it covers a span of a couple thousand years. From the tribulation to the millennium and so on. And it can flow very quickly like that. All right, we have finished and we are over the time preaching in 15 minutes.